So let's bring in a dude who is involved. Paul Sewald of the Arizona Diamondbacks, our friend, joining us right now. What a ride it's been so far. Paul, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I think you guys must have been a part of some of our pitchers meetings that we've had the last couple of days that haven't gone as well as we'd hope. And you're exactly right. Every bit of that is something that we're going to have to do better when we're here at home if we're going to get the chance to go back to Philly.
So
who sets that tone? Sorry, Scott. Who sets that tone? Is it Fott? Is it Gallen? Is it Brent Strom going, Fott, you got to throw this, or is it you guys in the bullpen like, dude, Fott, if you don't come out here and throw these, we have no shot when we come in the game because you haven't established anything in or half.
Yeah, I think you guys as catchers know that it starts with the very first pitch, and we did not do as well of a job as we could have in Philly. So now it is going to be Brandon's responsibility, and you're exactly right. Asking a rookie to do that is a tough task, but I think he's up to the task. I think he's going to be ready to rock and roll. I think his last start was a scoreless start against the Dodgers, fighting for their life, which was very impressive. And this time it's going to be us that's fighting for their life, and we're just going to need the same effort out of him, and all of us feel really good about our chances with him out there.
Paul, first of all, let me say you're a freaking beast, dude, for coming on today. I know you guys got in it. I don't know what time, but listen, you're down 2-0. Listen, I mean, listen, much love, much respect for the fact that you're here, because a lot of guys would have been like, oh, we're down 2-0. We got in at 4 a.m., whatever it was. So much love for you before we get into too deep here into the weeds and into the series. So thank you. With Fott, with Fott, we talked about like his high spin rate fastball. He's got a pitch. Tom Kelly, who I played for with the Twins forever, was always a big proponent of like, you can't ask a rookie to do things that he can't do, which is like throw at guys. And not that any manager ever ordered a guy to get hit, right? So I know we're kind of, and I don't want to say he's going to throw at anybody, but does Brent Strom, does Torrey go to him and say, listen, forget, you not throw at a guy, but like the first hitter of the game, you need to announce your presence, right? And just like up, right, to Schwarber, into Schwarber, and then you just carry that over. Because for me, Fott has to be ultra aggressive in this game, but he has to be aggressive not in the middle of the strike zone.
Right. No, that's exactly it. That's the key. Is we can't throw pitches over the plate because they're starting to get whacked because those guys are confident. But we really have to get him off of the plate, and we have to get on those edges. But he has that great sinker that really starts to run in on righties, which I think could be really effective of getting 2/3 of their lineup really off of the plate with that stuff that kind of looks like it's in the corner and then it's really off, makes those guys kind of jump out of the way. And he's really going to have to throw that four seam up at the top inside to Schwarb, to Bryson, Brandon, those guys, and really start to get those guys away from the diving out. Because, obviously Schwarber's homer on the changeup yesterday, that's just a, he was not intimidated that we were going to come inside. And because that was a pretty good pitch by Merrill, and it just hasn't really worked out our way so far. And these guys are rolling and they're feeling confident. So what we're going to have to do is get them uncomfortable. And you're exactly right. And we're not throwing at anybody. This is a postseason series. There's none of that. We're not trying to send a message for later in the series, but we are going to have to figure out a way to get them uncomfortable in the batter's box. And the best way is to kind of have pitches that are kind of moving some feet, running inside hard. And if we just have to figure out a way to get in there, get in there through the first time through the lineup just to try and give us a chance, because obviously, it's not a must win, but it is a must win. But we also need to get something fixed if we're going to win 4 games out of the next 5.
Yeah, I want to reiterate that. Nobody is saying that the Diamondbacks are throwing at any Phillies. Don't read more into this. It is a mindset.
Kratz said it.
It's a mindset of players talking to players about how they have success. And Paul, it's freaking awesome that you're just being super honest about this.
There's a lot of room between the edges of the plate and where a hitter stands, and that's where we're trying to throw the ball. We are not trying to throw a ball halfway into the left-handed batter's box or the right-handed batter's box at all. That's not what we're trying to do. But like we said, there's room between the edge of the plate and the chalk line that we need to really establish if we're gonna win 4 out of the next 5.
All right, so analytic people will say, okay, the Diamondbacks are down 0-2. And they'll say, how on earth are the Diamondbacks' 2 best pitchers not have thrown in the series yet, and they've lost, and they've been down 2? They say, and the argument is, well, the game didn't dictate that they should be in there. How do you feel about that? Because you and Ginkel are the two guys that are the go-to. And are you sitting there in agreement like, hey, if we're going to go down in this game, I got to be in this spot?
Yeah. We all have a lot of faith in Torrey and whatever Mike and the analytics team and everyone that's game planning for these games is going through. I know there's a lot of stress. It's a lot easier to manage a game from Twitter or the bullpen, especially in hindsight. It's just one of those things. It's like, we're going to need me, Thompson, Ginkel to throw in order to win this series. And if you get too many looks at us in the same series, then it hurts you later. So it's just trying to find a balance of when can we get our best pitchers in there to give us a chance. Game one felt like we were chasing the whole time. I didn't think that was really an opportunity for any of us to throw. And I think we managed our bullpen perfectly and, to put up zeros, and it wasn't a big deal. Yesterday kind of took a turn for the worse. And so then it really looks like, man, we could have tried to, keep it at 2-0. But, in their defense, we didn't get a guy past second base. So it's going to be hard to come back, whether, Ryan, Gink, and I threw the 6th, 7th, 8th for no reason or not. And it just, they have a game plan and we're sticking to it, and we're not going to deviate from what we've done to get us here to this point. And I appreciate that, because so many teams will completely take a turn and do things completely the opposite in the postseason. And sometimes it comes back to cost you. So, sometimes it works. Sometimes it's like, hey, if you would have just stuck to the game plan that, won us 84 games and won us 2 series in a row, we would have been just fine. So it's a really hard balance. And obviously anybody can overmanage on the 4.5 hour flight home. It's just one of those things that maybe it would have made a difference. Maybe it doesn't. And now everyone got to see the three of us, and, maybe we don't pitch well too. And the same thing could have happened to us. And, then we'd be like, oh, now you wasted your 3 best relievers and still lost 10-0.
Hey, Paul, you brought it up, the flight. What was the flight like last night? Was there a lot of sleeping? Was there a lot of talking? Was there a lot of commiserating? And is there a guy, like, was it Longo? Is there a guy that stands up and gets on the mic and says, hey, boys, this shit ain't over. Let's go?
No, so you know what? It was a full family flight, so everyone has we took an extra big plane to make sure everyone had their families and stuff. And so, at that point, you're just trying to make sure that we just get home. And there's nothing we could do about the fact that we're down 2-0 last night or even today. We just have to get back to work. And we're excited that we're going to be in front of our fans and we're going to get this thing going. But I do think when we get there on Thursday, everyone's going to have a lot of pep in their step, and we're going to be excited that we're not at CBP. And we've done the best when we've had our backs against the wall, and our backs are absolutely up against the wall at this point. So we might as well just go out there and do our thing. And I think we got punched in the mouth by the Phillies, and we needed to do that to them in order to calm down those crazy fans. But it'll be good for us to get in front of ours, and maybe we can get some momentum. And you guys know all you have to do is win one game, and then you really start to feel confident that you could win the series. And so it's important that we get out to a good start tomorrow. And I think if we do that, we could really start to play downhill ourselves.
What'd you think of CBP? What'd you think of Citizens Bank Park, the Bedlam?
Yeah, no, it was loud. It was loud, and they were on their feet the whole time. They also hit 2 homers in the first on Monday, and then they hit a homer in inning 1 and then inning 3 last night. The fans are excited because they keep hitting homers and getting them excited, especially after the introductions and the whole thing. That was the worst thing that could have happened to us was getting down early and obviously Zach and Merle are doing the absolute best that they can. It just didn't work out for us while we're there. But I think when you get the crowd going like that, and then they get those big leads early, that's, they're going to be extra loud, and Philly fans are extra loud. And, it was quite the environment. It was unlike anything I had seen. I've played in, I think this is my 5th playoff series, but that was the first time I'd ever had a playoff game where nobody sat down for 9 innings regardless. So if we get the opportunity to go back there, we're going to have to take the lead early and try and put them on the defensive, or we're going to have a tough time again.
Who was more annoying? And when I say that, like, I watch some teams you play against and you're like, God, I can't stand that team. Like that team. So were the Phillies, the players, more annoying, or the Phillies fans?
Man, I guess I would say the Schwarber hitting homers, or those guys hitting homers in the first inning, was probably more annoying than the fans. I think I could have taken the fans if we were winning 5-0. the fans are just rowdy and they're cheering on their team. And unfortunately, they had a lot to cheer about for those two games, and they've had a lot to cheer about at home over the last few years. So they just feel really good in that ballpark, and they played confident. And just a message that they've just looked very focused and very motivated. You can just see, it's unlike anything I've ever seen, a team that just feels like they look like they're on a mission. And they played like it the first two games this series, and we're gonna have our hands full to try and win two before we get a chance to go back there.
Is there anything that you think other ballparks can do to create what Philly has? I'm not saying they're the only fan base that is crazy, but I don't know, like just ideas in general. Like if I was working, I'm always trying to think like business wise and competitive edge wise. I'm meeting with my team. If I'm like president of the team, hey, how can we do that? How can we try and create any kind of home field advantage? Can we make this place louder? Can we encourage people to stand more if they're able to? I don't know, just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah, it's funny because it was funny in game one at Dodger Stadium. Everyone knows that stereo system out in center field is pretty loud, and it was loud for game one. But you definitely heard it louder in game two, where they felt like, okay, like we got taken advantage of in game one. We have to really make this place loud. And I'll say in game three at our place, it was absolutely rocking. Our fans were, I really need to compliment our fans. I was a little bit nervous that we were going to have some Dodger blue in the stands for that game, and it wasn't going to feel like a home game, but that's the opposite of what it felt. And a lot of credit to them. They were rowdy, and it was the same thing. We got that big 4-0 lead with the homers, and they just kept it the entire game. And even when the Dodgers stopped back, it just felt like our crowd was not going to let them get anything more. And I could barely hear my pitch comm in the ninth inning. I had to keep my glove over it, which is a credit to how loud our fans were. So they put the decibels up on ours too, and it's just it's way different. A June 15th game is just not going to be the same as an October 15th game, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I know our fans were very rowdy against the Dodgers, and I'm hoping that they're going to be extra rowdy this week because we're going to need them.
So this is the petty stuff, but it's still fun, and it's been awesome, dude. Like when you guys clinched, I was doing work and it was late and I had it on. I watched like an hour and a half of the post-game show. They covered every single cannonball into the pool. It was fun, It's something that you guys have that no one else has. Like and it's cool. Like we talk to all year. I get to see you interacting with the guys, like even in the pool, like, oh, here comes so-and-so, or like we're waiting for some coach that's like, trucking through the outfield and got to get him through the side gate, the whole thing. So I bring that up because now we get to Arizona. You're going to try to obviously take this series back to Philadelphia. Do you think that the Phillies would try to jump in the pool if they win? And our dudes, I don't remember if it was AJ or Kratz, said that when they were there at one point, they remember was it after the Dodgers situation years back? And they said, do not jump in the pool. Like you're a visitor. That is not your spot.
Yeah.
That was me.
So I believe that. So our president, Derek Hall, said that if the Dodgers, he said before our series, now if the pool will be open for whoever wins. And if the Dodgers win, then there's nobody protecting the pool. Luckily, we were the ones that won. My guess is that it would be open again. And if the Phillies are lucky enough to clinch against us, then that's our problem. And if they want to jump in the pool, they can jump in the pool. I just think it's something unique. It's something different. Those guys have popped champagne a lot lately, but it's something very cool that has become so popular at our place, and we've gotten to do it twice this postseason. And it's just a very different environment than most people just going inside. You just go inside and you pop champagne and you celebrate with your guys, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the fans were out there, and there's just hundreds of thousands of fans that are out there still cheering, and it's just great to celebrate in front of them and just show them like how appreciative we are of them, and how great, and how just how elated we are that we get to pop champagne and celebrate. It doesn't get old no matter what, and it's a very unique thing to our stadium, and we are going to do everything we can to make sure that the Phillies don't get that opportunity to do that.
The pool is dangerous, though. Did anybody hit because they have that little seat right there that you can sit. Did anybody catch that when you guys were jumping in?
Our 3 MCs jumped in together, and I don't think the one really realized that the handle to walk down to the pool came out quite as far, and she kind of jumped into it and kind of I was like, oh, I didn't, and I was like, oh, this is getting ugly. But luckily, all the players and the coaches were just as safe as they could be.
Would you guys jump in,
Scott.
AJ? I was just saying, like, if you guys were the opposition, would you?
No,
feel
I was
like...
told. We were told in 14 not to do it. They told us because so it was a weird situation. We clinched the division the last day, but we were ready to go. We had Wainwright warming up. I was with the Cardinals, but the Reds beat the Pirates, or vice versa. Johnny Cueto beat the Pirates, so therefore we clinched the division before. Waino's in full warm up mode, and they're like, "Hey, we got it, guys. Don't worry about it." Waino shut it down. That's why they now play all the games at 3:00, right? But as soon as that happened, everybody from the Cardinals was like, "Guys, don't jump in the fucking pool. Do not jump in the fucking pool. After the game, we'll celebrate. You're not allowed in the pool. Stay out of the fucking pool." And we stayed out of the pool. But I would have been awesome. I should have just broke the rules because I'm never going to get another chance to jump in the pool. So I should have just done it.
Hey, like I said, if the Phillies clinch against us, then that is their right that they get to do that if they so choose, in my opinion. Now, that's above my pay grade, and I'm not in charge of who makes that decision. But, you know, that we would be celebrating if we got that opportunity. So if we are unfortunate enough to lose 2 of the 3 of the games that we're here, then so be it.
Hey, I got one that I know I can get a good opinion from you on. Curious for your take here. Orlando Arcia said some words, attaboy, good, clean fun, right? And I mean, sure, that turned into Bryce kind of making it an entertainment thing and staring him down and all of that. I thought it was awesome. It was fun. The part to me that got interesting, and we got into it with both sides, with our former player hosts, with current players, with former players, with media members, is like, what's cool and not, how does it work? Because it's the playoffs. There's a billion people in the clubhouse. It wasn't anything offensive. And even if that is the case, I mean, if there was a fight in the clubhouse, like, and reporters, there were 50 reporters in there, they're not going to go, don't tell anyone, we're not allowed. So, I mean, you've been around the league for a while. What was your take when you saw like the call out saying like, oh, media, like that's trash that you're like taking words from players?
Yeah, I understand the Braves were frustrated with how that series went. And so, they kind of, were a little bit on the defensive, but the media has a job and a responsibility. It's just part of the game. And obviously media grows the game. This is why, this is why you have so many players coming on this show, is because we're trying to grow the game because you guys are great. The media has a responsibility to tell what's going on, and if they're in the clubhouse, then that's not your private sanctuary. Everyone knows that when the media is in there, that's a different time period. None of us talk the same when the media is in there that when right before the game when they're not in there. And you need to know that if, there's 100 people in the Braves clubhouse, then you know that what you say is possibly going to get tweeted out. Now, it wasn't a big deal. It should have been a big deal. They just kind of turned it into a big deal instead of saying like, well, he made a base running error and ended the game. Like I just said that. Like, I think the Braves turned it into a thing where the Phillies could use it as motivation. If they would have squashed it, I don't really think it would have been that big of a deal. And that's in my opinion. Now, I wasn't in that clubhouse and I don't know exactly how they felt, or, I'm trying not to get Bryce all riled up. He's already pretty good. I probably wouldn't have taken a shot at him no matter what. We don't need him to be extra motivated, but I just think they kind of turned it into a bigger deal than it should have been. It just really, like, Jake tweeted it out, and that's the end of that. Like, okay, then you just say like, I said it because he made a base running error, and that's the end of that. But once they turned it into a thing, and then then we have people taking shots at people. It just really got a little bit ugly, and then it turned into a huge story instead of like, I just said he made a base running error when he did.
I agree, Paul. Just, hey, say it with your chest. If you're Arcia, be like, yeah, I said it. He screwed up. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure if I would have done the same thing, they would have been like, attaboy Arcia. Like, it happens all the time.
Absolutely. Hey, you've been in a clubhouse before. I've talked trash about a player making a mistake in the game. Like, whoa, we won a game because of that guy. That's true. Like, I mean, and people have probably said it like, thank goodness Paul didn't have his stuff today and we walked him off. Like that's just part of the game. Like if you're going to say it with 100 media people in there, like you got to think somebody's going to say it. And if you don't want that other person to hear it, then you probably shouldn't say it at all. Like there's plenty of opportunities with you and just the guys to say whatever you want to say. And that wasn't the moment. And I'm disappointed that they really took offense to it because I didn't think that the media did anything wrong I didn't really think it was a story until they made it a story.
Spot on. And there's just no reason to like pit sides against each other in a story like that. Spot on. And our guys were vocal about it, Yeah.
Like we're working together. That's what this show does. This show is with players, for the players. Like we're all working together in trying to tell our story. Like you just have to, you try to, I understand sometimes you don't want to do a media appearance when you're not doing well, but like, it's kind of like you can use each other to really build your team's brand, your personal brand, and just baseball in general. And to like be players versus media at that time was a bad look. And it's really tough in the playoffs to be players versus media. There's going to be more media there.
Yeah, it's not the time. I got two more quick ones for you. One is fun. What's the sleep schedule like when you do have a situation like this? Like you get in super late. Like, do you try and like do the nap, then have your day, then go to sleep early? You know, what's the key here for you?
No, so we have a workout kind of in the afternoon today that I'll go. So we are so fortunate to have an absolute village to help with our family. So we didn't bring our daughter to Philly because just the timing, and obviously getting home at 4:30 last night, it probably was a good idea not to bring her. But she's so much fun. She's having fun with my aunt right now. And so they made a little bit of noise in the morning, and my wife and I woke up like, oh, that's earlier than we thought we were going to wake up. But getting to wake up to my daughter was a good way to get right back on Pacific time. And we're going to go to the field and do the workout. And you know, we have a 2:00 game tomorrow. So, you know, kudos to whoever decided that we're going to play at 8:00 Eastern and then 2:00 as soon as we get home.
Welcome.
Who makes that schedule. So that was fantastic.
AJ.
So,
you're welcome, Fox. You're welcome from. Oh wait, no, you're on Turner. Never mind.
Yeah,
we're on TV. So, but it's so we're gonna hurry. We're gonna hurry to get to the workout. We'll have easy dinner. We're trying to get settled, and then we'll just go to bed early and be ready for the day game tomorrow.
Cool, love that. And then last one, and this might be an answer for the off season, but apparently you have a thing with Torey Lovullo that you guys say to each other. Someone asked him like, "Oh, what does Sewald say?" And he was like, "Oh, we have a thing." And then I think it was from the post-game show, and I was like, "Follow up," but I think they moved on or something like that. So is it something fun?
I think it is fun. So, you know, when I got here, we lost 9 straight games. I was starting to contemplate what the heck happened from during this trade. And, you know, San Diego blasted us again right after we got swept by the Dodgers. And it was just like, and Torey's not this person to have a meeting. Torey's not a meeting person, and he's just calm, cool, laid back Southern California guy. And he called in a meeting, and you know, he was like, "I'm tired of us." And I think this has already come out, so I don't know why you thought it was bad, but he said, "I'm tired of us being the JV team to the NL West." I said, "You guys need to step it up, and you need to start playing the way you're supposed to be playing." And it was a good message to kind of like, all right, like Skip's very laid back, but he knows that this is a pivotal time that we really like our focus levels need to be higher, and we need to get it together. And you know, after the game and you know, just to beat the Dodgers, I think was huge for us mentally and just as an organization. I just kind of joked with him. I said, "Not bad for the JV team of the NL West." And you know, it was, you know, I don't think any of us really thought that message during the series, but it just, I don't know why it came to me right in that moment. I just felt like that was a moment that really turned our season around and for us to celebrate against a team that's, you know, given it to us pretty good the last few years and has dominated our division. And it was just important for us to really put our foot down.
Paul, last one, at least for me. I don't know if these guys will probably come in with some.
No, we're good. Last one. Let him go.
Okay. How on earth, and I'm so proud of you not to say this, but you guys got so much rest, right, before the NLCS. Is that why you guys are down 0-2? Because you guys got too much rest and you can't handle it?
Oh, man. I want to give the Dodgers, the Orioles, the Braves a little bit of credit. Like, I don't really know what the right answer is. It obviously hasn't worked out the way that we really wanted, but there's no losing playoff games now. There's just too much money. It's taken forever to get to 2 to 4 to 5, now to 6. Like, we're not going to go back down. I really don't know what the answer is. I talked to a couple people when we got to Philly, and I said, well, you know, what were the Braves doing to stay ready? And they played multiple inter-squad games. They brought in extra guys. You know, they played at the right times. So I kind of was like, all right, that seems to me like you did everything you could to try and stay ready. I don't really know. I know that's going to be that's probably Rob's biggest complaint and biggest problem right now is trying to figure out how to create the advantage for the teams that win their division and finish the first two. And I do think there's something to it, but it's above my pay grade. I haven't come up with a single idea that makes it better. Now, that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse for the Braves. It's not an excuse for the Dodgers. It's not an excuse for the Orioles because the Astros did just fine, and they did just fine last year, rolling through the playoffs. So We didn't use it as an excuse. The Phillies sure looked like they were ready. So no, we had an inter-squad game. We did everything we could to make sure we were ready. We just didn't play the way we had hoped. And it's tough. I don't really know what they're going to do, but I do think we have to try and come up with something different. I feel bad that you can win 100 games and then feel like you're ice cold going in the postseason. That's not exactly how it's supposed to go, but that's why you play the games. It's not the we won the most games in the regular season award. It's the postseason, it's the World Series, and that's just the way it works.
Okay, I have the solution for you. Here it is, but you have to choose.
Throw it at me.
All right. Next year, the Diamondbacks win 102 games. You're the number 1 seed. You get to choose. Do you want to play in the wild card game, or do you want to take the days off?
We want to take the days off every time.
Okay, then. Yep. Tell everybody else to zip
it. You can line up your pitching. Like, there's a huge advantage to getting that break. I know it didn't work out the way baseball really hoped this time, but there is a gigantic advantage to making sure that you can line your guys up. So we had to go into game 1 of the wild card series with fodder instead of our 1 and 2 because we had to battle in, and then it worked out well that we could throw Merrill in game 1. Like, we really had to work into that system where we could get our guys lined up. But
yep.
We would choose to be the 1 or the 2 seed if we had that option every time. And I can't imagine a single team who would want to play more games in a difficult environment. That sounds crazy. I can't imagine that would happen.
Imagine if there's one team that's like, no, Kratz, like, we want more competition. We will be the ultimate champion this year. Like,
that's how you get smoked in the wild card series right away.
Exactly.
You did that. You get absolutely smoked.
Some teams, so they don't need extra rest. We said last night are going to lose on purpose at the end, so they lose the division. If they have, like the Braves, like they get right to the magic number is 1 to clinch the division, and then they'll just lose every game, so they let the Phillies pass them, and then they're the wild card team.
That would be quite the choice. That would be quite the choice. That would be bold, and I would be. You can ask the Mets how they felt about not having that break last year, and then they lost in the wild card series, even though they led for 185 days. So. Every single person will choose the bye and getting to play your first 2 games at home with your 1 and your 2 every time. So, it didn't work out. Hopefully we can figure out a better solution, or maybe people just need to do a little bit. Maybe you just need to tweak how you respond those 4 days, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah, my only thing was, just because you haven't maybe seen it, was I'm like, just give me 1 day sooner. So. Wild card plays Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday if there's a game 3, and you play on Friday. You travel, you hit the next city. It's also for business purposes because we didn't have any games on a Friday, which is a prime time for games. So there's no football on the weekend. It just felt weird. It was like we never had games scheduled for Friday. The playoffs just started. People are dying for playoff baseball. I just didn't like that.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think if you're in the wild card series and you have to go to 3 games, like, you shouldn't get an extra day to try and line your guys up. If you have to go 3 games and you battle, then that feels fine for me. That, like, hey, you have to throw your 4 starter, you have to throw a bullpen the first day. Like, that seems fair that the playoffs could start Friday instead of Saturday. Now, it wasn't great having like Saturday. I mean, it worked out really well for us, but Saturday game, Sunday off, Monday game, Tuesday off. I mean, it felt like we didn't really play any games against the Dodgers, and it took a week. That was a little bit different too, especially after the sweep against Milwaukee. So maybe a little bit of tweaking, maybe a little bit of extra help there. We could try and figure it out. I think, as we know, if we can ever get to 32 teams and we can make it geographic, this would be really easy. You wouldn't have to worry about travel. You could just say like, hey, you got to play tomorrow because you're going to have a short flight. But for now, maybe you're right. Maybe Friday games is when the NLDS starts or the ALDS starts. Maybe that's a good start. At least it's 1 day closer.
Yeah. Oh, and we'll get into East West and all that. We'll have some good off-season combos. I'm sure we'll piss some people off, but I'm all for that too. So, Paul, go do your thing, dude. Yes, exactly. Go do your thing. Go get them. Have fun.
Appreciate
we'll be watching. Go crush it, and we'll talk to you afterward.
Awesome. Love you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Same here, dude. Love having Paul Sewald with us. Great closer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. We've also